Welcome to the My Fence Life bonus podcast series, Ask Me About My Day, where you can eavesdrop on phone conversations between Dan, industry leaders, and fencers from around the country to find out about their day.
Whoa, Benjinator, what's happening, baby?
What's going on, man?
Not much, bro. You realize this is the first Ask Me About My Day of season 5?
I'm privileged.
Yeah, and guess what, man? If you haven't noticed, for those guys that are watching on the, or actually listening on the podcast, if you go to YouTube, you'll see our awesome little new background. It says D&D Technologies. If it don't say D&D, it ain't badass, right?
That's right, man. And that's a badass background.
It is, man. That's pretty dope background. Got the swimming pool, the Magno latch up in the upper right there. D&D Technologies below me, and then below you, all those badass hinges. Oh, guess what, bro? I got an email from D&D, and they came out with a new product, and it is a badass hinge that you can weld to round post. Isn't that pretty awesome? Yeah, that's dope. So now we can take a, say we've got a chain link gate and it's on a, 3-inch galvanized post. We can go ahead and weld some badass hinges on there instead of using bulldogs or box hinges or whatever, all that chain link lingo.
The last FenceTrac, man, I actually got my hands on one of those badass hinges, and I don't know much about hinges because I build websites. But that hinge just feels hefty in your hand. You can tell by the feel of it. It's just got a good feel.
It does, man. But, you should know a little bit more about those badass hinges, because CleverFox.online is kind of like the badass hinge of the fence industry. Because if you don't have a website built by Benji McKinney, then your entire business is hinged on the wrong website.
Oh, might have to use that.
Yeah, I might have just created a new tagline. So hey, man, we got the Fence Show and Security Expo coming up, and I'm gonna get to actually see you in person, like touch, feel, smell you, everything, bro. You're gonna be like the real live Benji McKinney's gonna be here.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
I looked it up this morning. 54 days. Actually, I'm looking at it right now, guys. 54 days, 8 hours, 38 minutes, and 31, 30, 29, 28 seconds from now will be the Fence Show. And yeah, man. So you're driving down to visit your dad.
Yeah.
Right, which is just west of me, maybe 30 minutes, 45 tops, depending on if you're staying at old grandma's house. And then we're going to load up early Monday morning, me, you, and Pepper. We're all flying out to Vegas.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get to we said that we needed to get some T-shirts made, you and I.
Yeah. I'm with this asshole. And you're going to be like, I'm with this idiot. We need to get a shirt for Pepper that says, I'm with this asshole and this idiot, It's going to be great, man. I didn't realize how long of a flight it was from New Orleans to Vegas.
I'm excited about it, though, man. I really am. But yeah, that is a long flight, and we do have a little bit of I think we have a little bit of a layover, don't we?
We got about an hour and a half layover. It's like a little over 6-hour deal. But I think we had an hour and a half layover in DFW. I think that's where it is. Yeah. We opted out of the I think we opted out of the fly to LAX. I didn't fly to Vegas. I couldn't wrap my mind around that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Those flat earthers, man. Trying to figure that out.
Anyway, bro, it's gonna be dope. We will be flying first class. I don't know if you ever flew first class, but everything's free. So hopefully by the time we get off the flight, we can't stand. They got to wheel us out in a wheelchair because we drank every bit of bourbon on the plane.
That's it, man. Let's do it.
Pepper's gonna be our DD. So, man, what's going on with you, bro? It's this is 4th of July weekend. We're recording this, and we're taking out a little time on Sunday to do a little recording for you guys. I know you were talking to me about something you got going on in your business, which I think is, pretty smart because you have basically a jig, kind of like we use. We use jigs on everything that we do. I got a jig to nail up fence boards. I got a jig to do spacing when I do shadow box. I got a jig. I got all kinds of jigs, man. And I didn't realize you had this. I just thought you were amazing, but now I know why. You got your own jig, right?
Yeah, matter of fact, we've been working on that jig for 3 years now, honing in and dialing in the right SEO techniques and for the fence industry. So that's our master fence theme that I'm talking about, and we're talking about with the jig. We started out with an original master fence, 1.0 that we designed and developed. With that, we kind of branched off, and now we have like 5 flavors of the thing. So, it's themed out. Now, what that does is it allows us to set a foundation for a fence company's website with all the right SEO terms, all of the right content strategy in place. So you could come to us with nothing, like no existing website, no photos, no content, and we can get you a fully fledged website up and running for your fence company. And we have that in various different, like I said, different flavors, so different styles, if you will. But we also do modify those, so it's not like we have like a black and white theme. And if you come to us with nothing, you're going to get a black and white theme that's just, everything's just kind of set in place. So we do tweak all of that, move things around on the page and kind of, change it up to fit your style or your branding, if you will. So I think it's important to know that, that type of tool is available for the fence industry. And we do also, do custom websites as well. We still do that, but even the custom websites have a content strategy that's based off of the master fence theme, because we've spent 3 years developing this thing, man, and testing it and figuring out what works. And just like you said, you have a jig when you build a fence or, build anything, you kind of have a template, so to speak, to go by.
Well,
And
when my guys are building fence, they use the same jig to build all types of different fences, So whether you're getting a standard privacy fence or you're getting a captain trim fence, or if you're getting a shadow box fence or a board on board fence, they're all different, but we're still using the same jig because we're just badass like that,
right.
And I'm not just saying us as Fence King, but there's a lot of people use the same jig just like we do,
Right.
And there's more than just one jig, and that's the thing. We got a jig for setting posts, we got a jig for nailing up fence boards, we got a jig for hanging 2x4s. It just so happens, like us, we've invested to get all those jigs together, and you have them all readily available, so you can spit out a website fairly quickly,
Right.
and move things around. But then you get a guy like me who's like, hey, I don't like that. Can we change that? So then, okay, fine. So now we start veering off that master template, but you got to have a starting place, right?
Right. And that's one of the things, like, when someone comes to us and even if they already have a website, sometimes we have a fence company that come to us and they already have a website and they're struggling with SEO issues. And the first thing we tell them is, look, we're going to have to take this thing back to the ground, to the foundation, and build you a new website. And they're like, whoa, what? We're going to have to rebuild this thing? And it's because the foundation wasn't set properly. So you have to have the right SEO foundation. Now, from there, after you build it, just like you said, you might build a standard shadow box fence, but then the customer may say, hey, I want this thing stained. I want lights on top of the posts. I want to dress it up a little bit. Those are things that can be added on afterwards or as part of the plan, but done in a different phase of the development, if you will. So those are all things that's the reason why our contracts, our plans are a 1-year minimum, because it doesn't take, an entire year to build a website. It's only going to take right now, I think our turnaround time is 8 to 12 weeks. But, after the website goes live, that's when the real magic starts really happening. And we start really dialing in your taste and dialing in other things that we can add to the site. We start doing ongoing SEO with blog posts being published and, specific city pages being built and all of those other second phase SEO techniques that we start rolling in and getting in the works. That's when that magic really starts to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't remember how long it took to get my website up and running, but I know you got it up and running. I was your first fence website that you did.
That's correct.
Yeah, I was just sitting here reminiscing while you were talking about us sitting in Walk-Ons in Covington, Louisiana, and I was getting a little tipsy and we were cutting up. Well, it was a good meeting, man.
Yeah, it was. You had sent me an email with some of your wants, and I had actually printed those out. And then on the back, I think I still have this piece of paper somewhere, man. I would love to find it so I can share it with you. But on the back, I had handwritten notes about what we were going to do to improve your website and what ways we needed to move forward. And I remember sitting at the bar with you, and just drinking and talking about these things that we were talking about doing. And we were just getting to know each other. I mean, we didn't know each other before that. That was the first time we'd ever met.
It was a good day, man. I had interviewed 5 guys. I think you were the 4th. I interviewed somebody after that. And some of the interviews were really quick. Yeah, man. I was like, all right, I can work with this cat. He's got a hold of the vision that I got, and he's gonna polish up what I'm thinking, and he's gonna bring a whole lot more to the table. So yeah, so we started was that 2019 or something, 2020, 20? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I'd have to look at my phone, bro. I've got down our first meeting in my phone, because you know how I am. I track everything.
Right.
My guys come in for their review, and I'm like, yeah, so you were late 48 times. And they're like, Jesus Christ.
I think the Fence King project was when you started with us, we were still doing project folders, like literal paper folders. And now we're completely 100% paperless. So you were probably like one of our last folders. So I actually have to go pull the archive and actually put my hands physically on your folder, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy, man. It's kind of like some what is that movie? The national the deal where the guy's running around trying to find the Constitution and shit. Your boy from Con Air. Shit.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. He does those movies where he's hunting for stuff. Go find my archive. Well, hire Nicolas Cage to find that.
I'll get Nick right on that.
Yeah, man. So, and then of course, once you get the website up and running, I mean, like you did with us, we're like, hey, we want to add this. Hey, we need to change this. Can we make this look a little different? And then you would come to the table and say, hey, look, they got this new deal out. We can do this now. They got a new, I'm going to say the word widget, because that's probably what people out there know that term. But hey, look, there's a new widget we can use, and we can make this better. We got the little deal where you slide back and forth the before and after photo, which is great. I can't tell you how many people are like, oh man, I did the little before and after thing on the stain. And it really helped me get a visual of what my fence was going to look like,
Yeah.
Just all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and your stuff's constantly changing. I mean, we're still adding things to you. I mean, we have things on your task board right now to add to your website. So it doesn't stop. You never get to the point where the website is complete and done, you can sit back, kick your feet up, and just, let it ride. We constantly want to grow it and want to change it, and want to add to it. Organic SEO is something you have to work at, and you have to work at often. So,
well, it's your website's an organism, right? It's growing, constantly growing. It's kind of like having a baby. You first start out wiping its ass and changing its diapers, right? And then next thing you know, okay, now you're helping it walk. You're not really concentrating on the diapers so much. You're worried about them busting their head open on the coffee table when they're trying to walk. And the problems are just different. And I don't mean to say problems. I mean to say the things you pay attention to. Yeah, the challenges and the things you're paying attention to. I can't tell you how many times I've heard you say that people call you up and say, I want a website like FenceTrac. And you're like, whoa, pump your brakes. We can do that for you. And we can do that for you out the gate. But it's going to cost you a whole lot of money because that's something we've been working on for 3+ years.
Right. And there's been instances where people have told us that. They've said, we want what you did for Fence King. We want that same site. And then during the building process of their site, your site changes. That's happened, because it grows and it changes. And then so because it doesn't stop, it's not something you can take a snapshot, or you can take a snapshot of it and kind of, develop it out. But it's something that you have to keep changing, and therefore it doesn't stop. So you can't just put the brakes on and say, I want that and just that, because that doesn't stay the same. It's not constant.
Well, yeah, man, I got a laundry list of shit I want to do. I'm constantly like, hey, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. And Benji's just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Because I'm constantly throwing stuff at you. But I remember I had somebody call me up. I can't remember who it was. And they're using Sunlight Financial or whatever it is. Hey, man, I got my finances set up just like yours on your website. And I was like, oh, well, we changed that a couple weeks ago. It's not on there anymore. And they're like, what? You took it off? I'm like, yeah. So I told them why I took it off and what changes we made and why we're doing it the way we're doing it. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know if they ever changed it and did what I did. But the thing about it is, I'm a throw spaghetti on the wall kind of guy. And I know you hate this terminology because you're like, stop throwing spaghetti on the wall, Dan. And we see what sticks. Well, that stuck. So then we started playing with it and realized, well, maybe the wrong piece of spaghetti stuck to the wall. We need to pull that down and revamp it. And that has a lot to do with just not my ideas, but it's your ideas. I'll say a frustration I'm having or this or that, and Benji comes up with a solution. He goes, well, what if we did this? And I was like, hey, that's a good idea. And we might chew on it for a month or two before we change it. Or we chew on it for a month, put it on a task, and then whenever my turn comes around in your schedule for the month, it gets done.
Right.
I think that's the other thing too, man. That I wanted. I don't mean to interrupt you here, but people have to understand you have a schedule. Mm-hmm. So, Dan's time or Dan's job, you schedule it for whatever part of the month I'm on. I don't know. I might be on the third week of the month, right? And then who's another customer of yours, Benji? You got a gazillion.
Wheeler.
Guys.
You can do Wheeler.
I really don't like talking about. I don't like talking about those guys. No, so then Nathan Downs, you do the Radius. What is it called?
Radius Fence.
Yeah, Radius Fence. I keep getting that in his podcast mixed up. Radius Fence might be the second half of the third week of the month, and Dan Wheeler, he might be in the first half of the first week. So people have to understand, just like we do, we schedule jobs, and we might be 3 weeks out. Well, you're always 4 weeks out. Think about that.
You're all right. Yeah. Now there are occasions where we bend those rules, because there's things that come up, urgent needs, and that's the reason why we use the task board, right? So we can manage that. But to your point, man, I started telling my team, your most important job title is to become a creative problem solver. And I think that's the niche that I've fallen into over the 15 years that I've done this. Is I'm a creative problem solver. I'm not a web designer. I'm not a web builder. I'm a creative problem solver.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It is something that I really enjoy doing. I think it's the most enjoyable thing when someone can come to me and, like you mentioned, spaghetti against the wall, but you don't know how many times we've taken that spaghetti and we've turned it into a 5-course meal and really turned it into something that is being used for other fence contractors and even outside of the fence industry, in our other projects that we do, that has really been turned around and used to make someone's life better and solve someone's problem. I mean, that's what it's all about, is solving problems.
Well, I mean, I came up with the mySalesman deal, right? We got mySalesman. I got to get it on my website. And then you came up with the whole, how about we frame it in the whole window deal, right?
Yeah.
Look how many other fence companies have that on their website now.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not just websites that you built. I think there's some other guys that are doing it also now. Because it's a great idea, man. Yeah.
If it works, man, let's do it. And I think I've given them all kudos for that. So I think that, that's what it's about. Like I said, and you've, not just you, but there's been other people, Chris Gass with Jack Fencing. He came to us with a problem a couple of months ago, and now we're developing out a whole new product for the fence industry called Pronto Pitch. Yeah. And, I mean, it's just about that type of thing. People coming to us and saying, hey, I have this challenge that I'm facing. Chances are, if you're in the fence industry and you're facing a challenge, there's somebody else in the industry that's either facing the same challenge or has overcome that challenge already.
Yeah.
So problems aren't unique.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, because I mean, look at what Sean King's done with all the problems with building fence and the jigs,
Yeah.
The jigs we're talking about, 95% of the jigs I use are because I was using them in one way and Sean made them better, or he just plain out invented something.
Right. Sean's is extremely smart, dude.
Yeah.
The things that and I love watching his videos. I love learning from him. I love seeing him at shows and doing his demos and doing the competitions and what he's doing to help influence, in the fence industry. But, I think that he would, if he was on the call with us right now, he would 100% agree that what he does is solve problems. And,
and he's passionate about it. And so that's contagious.
Yeah.
When you're passionate about something, Well, hey, Benji, it was great having you on today, man.
Yeah, man.
Glad you took some time out of your Sunday to hang out with the old Fence King.
Yeah, it's been nice, man. It's always good talking with you.
Well, look, I'm going to we're going to drop this thing July 5th. It's going to be out. That'll be Wednesday. It'll be the day after the 4th of July. So, yeah, I can't wait for this audio to drop. I'm going to listen to it and catch all the things that I missed while I was thinking about what I needed to say while you were talking. Anyway, bro, it was great talking to you, and you keep on fencing. All right, man?
All right, man.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, buddy.
You've been listening to My Fence Life. Yes, we like to have fun. Beer, bourbon, and business. And although we have fun, we take our business very seriously. Dan Blanc is known as the Fence King, and he's been providing high-quality fence solutions since 1999. He's connected to industry leaders, business leaders, financing experts, and marketing gurus that will be on the show to talk about their success stories. To find out more about us, hit the website at myfencelife.com. Listen to the show wherever you consume your content. We are everywhere. Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcast. See you next time on My Fence Life.